Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Year 6 into 7 parents meeting. Thank you very much for attending. I'm hoping that I can answer any of your questions that you might have tonight, and also provide you with more information before your child starts at Sheffield Springs Academy. My name is Mr Shipman. I'm head teacher, and I'll just take you through this slideshow, and then I'll finish it, and there'll be an opportunity for you to ask questions, and I'll answer those the best I can. Mr Howard's supporting me tonight, so if you want to ask a question at the end of the presentation, if you type it into the text box, Mr Howard will pick a selection of questions and then ask me to answer those on your behalf, and then hopefully you've got a really good idea of what's going on. Okay. First of all, I just want to take the time out to say thank you. I know what a massive decision this has been for parents and students. I'm got that decision to make in October this year with my daughter, so I can only imagine the kind of thoughts that you've been through in trying to make sure you get the right decision and get the right secondary school for your son or daughter. But thank you for placing your trust in us, and I really appreciate that. It's a big responsibility we've got, but I'm absolutely certain that we won't let you down, and that you've made the right choice. I think I put this slide up to you a few months ago when you were deciding which secondary school to send your child to. I think it sums it up perfectly well, that you want your child to come to school and be happy. You want them to be safe. You want them to make outstanding progress with the learning, and probably you want them to develop a passion for something as well. I've put a picture up there of my daughter. She's a little bit taller than that now. She's in year 5, but I was going through the very same emotions when we were choosing primary school for her. And I think there's a lot of that there's those new opportunities that your child is about to come across, that they feel ready almost, that when you get to year 6, you're the eldest in school, you feel ready to sometimes move on, that you're really motivated to see what the future brings at Springs. But it's fine for this to be some nerves as well, and a little bit anxious, and a little bit of going into the unknown. And it's our job to try and help students and parents through that big change, so that they make a successful start to their secondary education. And I sit here and promise you now that we will do everything in our power to make sure that your child has a successful 5 years with us. I always talk about the triangle of support. If one of those areas, one of those points is missing, everything else can come crashing down. So it's important that the students, school and home all work together. I'm the first to admit and will say that as a school we don't get everything right. There are times when we make mistakes. We're quite a large institution, but I'll hold my hand up to you, and we'll put it right and learn from it when we do make mistakes. What we do share in common, though, is that we want the very best for each and every child that comes through the gates every morning. And as a parent, you want the best for your child. So we've got that in common. And although mistakes might be made occasionally, we both share that common goal of providing the very best for each and every student. And all I ask is that you help us with that and support us with that. whether that's maintaining regular contact with school, whether that's when we can get back to it, attending parents' evenings, etc. Supporting your children if they do any extracurricular events, anything that you can do, taking an interest in what students are learning, letting them teach you. And my daughter, who's in year 5, is very good at teaching me the things she's learned during the day, and I'm amazed at some of the stuff they do in year 5 that I certainly didn't do when I was in year 5. So just take that interest, ask them what they've done, be involved will really help them and help our relationship flourish as well. So tonight I'm going to give you an update on the current situation at Springs. I'll provide you with an update on our transition programme. I'll talk through our plan for September, and then I'll give you an opportunity to ask questions. Basically, in terms of the current situation, our risk assessment is available on the website, and you can see that. And that risk assessment details basically how the school is operating at the moment, whilst we've still got COVID restrictions in place. But just so you're aware that students are placed in year group bubbles. Each year group has a corridor, and they stick to those classrooms all day. So, for example, year 7 are on the maths corridor, year 8 are on the English corridor, and the teachers move to the students. We have staggered start and finish times with different entrances and exits. So one year group goes through the entrance, one year group goes through the exit, and obviously they're staggered. We have different zones for break and lunch times. So each year group has an indoor area and an outdoor area. We take lunches to those areas as well, so students can get the lunches from there, and basically that reduces obviously contact with other bubbles. We've got hand sanitizer available throughout school. They're on the entrances and exits. They're in every classroom, and every student and teacher is expected to sanitize when they go into the classroom. Apologies. Masks are optional for students. So obviously with the change in guidance earlier on in the year, they're optional for students, so they don't have to wear them on the corridor or in classrooms. Some students choose to, and we support that as well, whatever makes them feel comfortable. With regards to staff wear them in communal areas like corridors, and it's optional if they want to wear them in classrooms. We still are not having any assemblies in the hall, so we're not bringing large groups of students together and sat in an enclosed space, and we're not using the changing rooms for PE. Students on the days that they have PE are coming to school in their PE kit and staying in their PE kit all day. We ask students to walk on the left side of the corridors, so they all move in one direction, and every year group has their own set of girls and boys toilets as well. So that's just an overview of the main bullet points. We don't know at this moment in time what it'll look like next year, but I'll kind of touch on that in a little bit, and I'm sure there'll probably be some questions on that. In terms of transition, we are looking to run the Early Riser programme from Monday the 5th of July. This will be either run in school or virtually like last year. We are leaving it as late as possible to decide on the decision, and the reason for that is we're monitoring the number of cases, COVID cases that are taking place in the city and local community. We are getting guidance and advice from Public Health England, and we're liaising closely with primary feeder schools all the time. So we've been having regular meetings, and we'll make a decision on whether Early Risers goes ahead in school or virtually, probably towards the back end of next week, and then we'll let you very much let you know. Well, middle of next week, and we'll let you know. As I say, I apologise about that, and I don't want that to look like we're disorganised. We're not, but when we're bringing students in from many different schools, we've just got to be sure that we're doing the right thing. We'll only make that decision with the advice of Public Health England, so it won't be me just saying, oh, it feels right, we'll get them in. We'll be looking at the data that is available, and making a decision on that with the support from Public Health England. We've got, or we will have, a transition link at the top of the homepage. So if you go to the Sheffield Springs Academy website, there'll be a green box. It'll be in place early next week. If you click on that, it's divided into 2 sections, one for pupils, one for parents. There's lots of different information in there to help and support you, and you'll be able to start looking at that almost immediately. In the parents and carers section, there's a video welcome from the transition team, and there'll be an induction booklet as well, which will talk through kind of the school day, term dates, what we expect in terms of uniform and equipment, our attendance policy and expectation, how homework fits into school, and then other really good things like education with character and what we do, what opportunities we offer students, something we're really passionate about, and I know I've spoke to you about it on a number of occasions, how we reward students, and then important policies that you might want to just have a look at in terms of how we expect students to behave in school, put a stance on bullying and the bullying policy, as well as how students can order school meals and the mobile phone policy, etc. In there as well is there's a frequently asked questions guidance sheet. So as you probably will imagine, you know, we've had a number of questions asked over the years regarding school, so we've tried to summarise some of the most popular questions for you. There's a chance to meet the teachers and form tutors. We've done a virtual tour of the school, and there's some messages from student ambassadors. We'll try and provide you with information in terms of safe routes to school. So one thing we're really conscious of is that in primary school, you probably take your son and daughters to school, and this will be the first chance they've got of kind of walking to school, and we want to provide some safe routes so that you can be assured that they know how they're getting to and from school if you're not taking them. We've sent out some data collection forms and a parent consent booklet. Can I ask that you return those as soon as you can, please? It's important information for us that we need to get on the system, and we need that on the system before the Year 6 students start with us, so that'd be really helpful. We're running our summer school from the 19th of July until the 23rd of July. Lots of really good activities going on there. If you haven't signed up yet, please contact reception and do so. It's free of charge, and there's lots of great opportunities happening that week. Just another thing to flag to you, that we are a cashless school, so we operate a cashless catering at Sheffield Springs Academy, and actually we use something called ScoPay. Your child will receive a ScoPay account, which you can then provide funds towards it so that they can get their lunches and breaks. Obviously, we'll send you out a link for that you can sign up for. It's really important you do, please. You will also be able to stay connected by your mobile phone, so there'll be what's called an Arbor Parent app. You won't be able to download this until September, but in September you'll be able to download it, and it'll be able to show you everything about your child in school. You know, what the attendance is, behaviour reports, anything that, you know, punctuality, did they get to learning on time, etc. So you'll be able to track that through the app. So in terms of the plan for September, we're currently unsure what this will look like, and we're waiting for the government guidance. But what I can assure you is that we're planning on a number of scenarios, and the example I'll give you there is, are we going to remain in bubbles or not? And at this moment in time, as I sit here, I don't know. We're planning for life without bubbles as well as life with bubbles. What I will do, as soon as I know, I'll write to all parents and carers as soon as we have more details, to ensure that you're aware of what the expectations will be in September. We'll obviously ensure that there's a smooth and effective start to the year, and a significant amount of time will be spent with your child's tutor, getting to know the building, etc. That'll take place in early risers if we're going with that, or if not, then we'll ensure that on their first day back that they have significant time to experience that. Our risk assessments as well include how pupils and staff travel to and from school and behave when in school. What I will say is the risk assessment is very thorough and it's reviewed by SLT regularly. So we do consider when the students are moving to and from the site. And that's important for things like catching public transport, etc., where face masks are still required. In terms of education with character, this is one of the, I think, proudest things. One of the things I'm proudest of as head teacher that we've introduced, and Mr Howard's done a fabulous job on this. But it's about how we promote learning beyond the classroom. We have something called the Springs Challenge and the Springs Promise, and I'm sure you've heard of those already, and you can find out more information on the website. But the aim of that is to develop a student's character, their compassion, and almost like their service. It's providing them opportunities that they wouldn't normally get, and I think that's really important. And on the promise, there's 10 things that we promise that students will get an experience of. And they won't do that every year. They might do, they might learn 2 musical instruments instead of 1, or they might go to music and decide it's not for them, but at least they've tried it. And what we're trying to do is build up their character and give them a passion for something that they want to do when they leave school. That's underpinned by our values, and you'll see them there. I don't have to read out the definitions, but what we expect from all members of our community, whether that's myself, members of staff, students, is excellence, pride, and an ambition. And that's what we always strive for. And we always strive for excellence for our young people. We're incredibly proud of them and the community that in which our school sits. And we're really ambitious, and we want this school to be the best school it can be. And the reason why we want it to be the best school it can be is if that school is the best school it can be, it means the young people who are coming here are getting the very best, and that's what they deserve. And if we're not giving them the very best, then we're not doing something right. So we always set out for that. And then we expect students to excel. We expect them to be proud of the school they come to, and we want them to be ambitious and kind of aim for the stars. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but we've got lots of talented, intelligent young people who come to this school, and why can't they have the very best jobs and careers moving forward? Why can't they go to university? These are things that they need to strive for. So that's what we push. Okay, on that note, I'm going to say thank you for listening. I've been quite succinct for me, shall we say. 18 minutes is probably a record, but I've tried to keep it to the point for you. I'm going to just come onto screen, and then if you want to ask any questions, if you type them into the box, Mr. Howard will ask those questions. Hi, sir.
Evening, everyone. So, as Mr. Shipman just said, if you could please type in questions, I'll relay them back to Mr. Shipman now. I'm just getting my grounding and just reading through some of them now. So just bear with me for 20 seconds. Okay, so one question, Mr. Shipman, it's come through, is to do with the early risers and relating to the Public Health England. So could you not do lateral flow tests for all pupils before they come to early risers?
Yeah, the issue we have with that are the lateral flow tests in school are for year 7 and above, and whilst year 6 pupils will be coming up to us to experience that and almost starting, they're still registered as a a primary school pupil. So we can't do that, unfortunately, although, you know, it does make sense. We're not allowed to just do the lateral flow test. What we do just need to do is bear in mind that we take from a number of primary schools across the city, so we just need to be mindful of bringing students together. One thing that I will say is that we all share it here at Springs is that we want, if possible, to get students into school so that they can experience it. But equally, you know, we have to keep people safe, and that's students, families, and staff as well. So I have to be, without sounding like a politician, I have to be guided a bit by the data that's available in Sheffield and the advice from Public Health England.
And then just continuing on from for that question, sir, if the children cannot attend early rises, are they still able to attend their primary school during this time? Yeah,
so if early risers wasn't, say we took the decision to cancel early risers, then they would be expected to attend the primary school. And you know, I've been working closely, as has Mr Howard, with all primary schools to involve them in this process, because it's just a very challenging circumstance we find ourselves in. It got obviously cancelled last year, but we're in a different place this year compared to last year in terms of vaccines, etc. The decision is what impacts bringing students from across the city in quite a large number, because we'll have about 180 students attending. How could that impact? So it's a tough decision to make. There's no right or wrong answer, and we're weighing up, obviously, you know, what we don't want to be doing is sending lots of students home to isolate if there's a positive case, but we want to give students the chance to experience secondary school. But equally, if they do come into contact with somebody who's tested positive, then we'd have to send them home to isolate.
We've got a message about timings and dates. So are they mentioned anywhere, or where can more information be found?
Yeah, so the 5th of July is the start date. If you go onto the website, basically from I think it's from Monday, there'll be a banner on the website towards the top that will give you the information on start dates and times, etc. What we're also doing as a school is we're passing that information through to primaries so that they should be aware of it. But if you go on the website, it'll be very clear from Monday on timings, etc. We try and obviously, if we're going with early risers, we'll have to make sure the start and end times are staggered so that the year 6 bubble doesn't come into contact with say a year 8 or year 9 bubble.
Continuing on remote learning, how will you run the early risers program remotely?
Okay, so last year, and probably the person who can answer this the best is the person who's asking me the question, but I will give it a good go. But Mr Howard set up a great online provision last year. There was lots of different activities for students to do, whether that was activities through learning or whether that was activities about the school and showing students around the school and meeting the head of year, etc. So that was done online. Last year, from our experience, students, some students did that in school because there was obviously schools operating on a limited capacity for certain students, but teachers logged on to the website and students completed that in school, and a lot of students completed that at home as well. So there's a number of activities, quite fun as well, that students would be able to do. So what we're doing as a school at the moment, we're kind of doubling the work at the moment. We're planning for students to come into school, and we're planning for them not to as well. And then when the decision has been made, we clearly flip to one plan.
Absolutely, and I am going to jump in a little bit. I will say we've been working with primary schools all year, and so the primary schools also have lessons that will be delivered that are linked to the Early Risers programme, and there's example lessons also found on the website. A couple more questions coming in now. So going back to Early Risers possibly being postponed, how is it that summer school can still take place if Early Risers can't?
Yeah, that's a good question, and something that we need to consider as well. Summer school won't be as big, so we won't be having as many students to school for summer school. We also reduce the risk quite a lot by the fact that other students within other year groups are not in school as well. So it enables us to have more space for the students that come to summer school. Summer school is going to be a lot more outdoor activity based, which is we know is obviously safer as well. So it's a really good question, but hopefully I've answered. Hopefully I've kind of told you our considerations with that. The other thing to say as well is we'd have to still work alongside Public Health England for summer school as well, but you know, hopefully that could take place. I think the numbers for summer school at the moment is something that's just so parents are aware. I think they're about 70 odd, and I think it was 73 when I last looked. You know, early risers, we're talking about 180 odd students coming into school, so it's a lot easier to social distance students.
Just a quick one on the summer school. Will all children get a place within summer school?
Yeah, the invite is for all students. All you have to do is let us know if you want your child to attend. Like I say, it's the first week of the holidays. We opted for that week because we thought it'd be kind of the best week for young people, and almost we were hoping that early risers will continue, so it kind of gives us 3 weeks to get to know students and them to get to know us as well. So yeah, if you want a place, just give reception a call tomorrow, and they'll be able to put your child on, providing they're in year 6. We're not taking children from other year groups, just year 6, and they must be coming to us.
Just got a question about some pupils unfortunately missing early risers due to their school not partaking in it. Are they going to miss a lot of information, or and obviously classes as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a difficult one, and obviously totally understand where their primary school's coming from as well, and things were changed, and the problem with this pandemic is lots of things change and almost last minute as well, so I'm understanding of that. What we've got to make sure is that those students from that school aren't disadvantaged as much as they can be, so we will provide some content online for them and give them an opportunity to do the virtual tours and everything else. It's not the same as being here, but at least it gives them an opportunity to to look around. And the thing was, last year some of the virtual stuff was really good, that actually students and parents from last year's year 6 commented on how smooth the transition was, bearing in mind they'd not been into school. So there's a lot of that we want to do with those students that can't get this year. Obviously it's not the same as being here, but we're mindful of the fact that we want to try and help and support and make sure that they get a good idea of springs before they come up in September. Is that it, sir? Or?
Sorry, sir, I forgot to turn my mic off.
Oh, right, okay.
My bad. We've got 2 questions left. Just regarding the Nebula programme, someone's asking when they're going to hear the results back from the assessment.
Yeah, great question. Really excited about Nebula. I believe, and Mr. Howard, you'll tell me if I'm wrong, I believe it's the end of this week when parents and students will hear back. Really exciting programme. The first time we've done this. I've been keeping up to date with from Miss Biggs and Mr. Howard about how well it's going. Some great young people have applied. So yeah, the end of the week is I presume, well, is what I believe when you'll hear back. Mr. Howard's going to butt in and tell me if I'm wrong in a minute, but yeah, at the end of the week.
No, sir, you're right. And then the last question for tonight. When will we find out about who will be their form tutor?
Yeah, so you'd find out really during early risers, because you'd be put into some forms. What we're not doing this year is kind of what we call roll the timetable. So sometimes we roll the timetable, so that means year 7s move up to 8s, 8s up to 9s, etc., and you get the teachers that you would get in September. We're not doing that, but you'd still know your form group, and we'd still give you the name of the tutor for the following year. And if we could ensure that that tutor was available to meet with those students, then you'd get that tutor as well. So there's a lot of ifs and buts there, I know, but you by the end of the time with us for early risers, you'll definitely know who your tutor is, and you will have met them and know where they're based in school as well.
Okay, sir, that was the last of the questions for tonight.
Brilliant, thank you, sir. Just like to thank everyone for logging on. I hope you found it useful. It's really important, as I said earlier, that we communicate with parents and carers, and particularly at this moment in time when we're living in challenging circumstances. But thank you for taking the time out this afternoon to join me. I hope you found it useful. If there's anything else that you want from me, then feel free to call reception and ask any questions, and both myself and Mr. Howard be more than willing to help. But thank you very much, and have a good evening.